exploring the future landscape of direct and indirect taxes, trends, challenges, and strategic insights. I would like to call upon the stage our moderator for the session, Mr. Umang Goyal, Strategic Account Director, Clear, and our fellow panelist, Mr. Ravi Tela, Head of Tax, Nuvama Group, Mr. Dhaval Desai, Head of Tax, UPS, Mr. Suman Chakraborty, Associate Director, Controllership Tax, Accenture, Mr. Harshal Fifadra, Senior VP Finance and Tax, HSBC, Mr. Rajesh Kasargod, Head Controller Group Finance Reporting and Direct Taxation, Blue Star Limited.
Thank you, Mitali, for again a brief intro about me and about all the panelists. So today we have a panel discussion on exploring the future landscape of direct and indirect taxes, their trends, challenges, and strategic insights. So if I talk about as taxes are changing, it's becoming hard for businesses to stay compliant and efficient. In the taxes and share strategy to help businesses navigate these changes, right? We will cover the topic like using technology, AI, and what extent the automation can we go to simplify taxes. We will also cover staying up to date with new tax rules and working with governments to make tax compliance easier. Let's get started. I'll have a question for Mr. Chakraborty. Okay, what emerging global trends do you foresee in the realm of direct and indirect taxes, and how should business prepare for these changes?
Yeah, just before I talk about that, a small incident that happened few days back, just to tell that the pain points for the tax people probably are same around the world. So I was talking to somebody in my team in Philippines, okay, and I was just asking which area is taking most of your time? Where are the most manual efforts going? Then that lady said that, my tax authorities have asked me to reconcile whatever withholding tax I have paid, to reconcile it with my P&L debit items. तो मैं बोला भाई तो मेरा क्लॉस 34 है मतलब तो ultimately घुमा फिरा के है. Then again I was talking with somebody in China, and then some tax accounting problems, which again that also is in the same sort of issues. So I think so far as the changes or the future of direct indirect taxation is concerned, I think if we talk about the transactional taxes, first of all we'll be talking about probably is e-invoicing. E-invoicing has been a major change, and e-invoicing is not really something new. Okay, e-invoicing came in Brazil during I think 2006, and there is a Brazil tax is extremely complex, and they call it nota fiscal at that point of time. Then again, China, FAPIO was there. Then gradually, I think Malaysia, Poland, multiple countries are implemented it. The government sees it because the tax frauds really gets reduced when you talk about the e-invoicing thing. India has also introduced it. Of course, there were teething problems, and there are IT infrastructure to be built around that. But I think things have been systematic post that. E-invoicing is one of the things. Then I'll talk about the digital space, because the digital taxation I think is something which is extremely important so far as both direct tax and indirect tax is concerned. So many countries have introduced this digital service tax, okay? And whenever any particular platform is being used, or certain on-demand IT material is being used. So the many countries or many jurisdictions have introduced the digital service tax on the same. And then there are certain peculiar taxes I can also talk about, like probably in Denmark, there is a tax where they talk about, I think it's a cultural levy on on-demand music and the other entertainment items. So again, I think in Malaysia there is a tax on the aggregators where the aggregators are asking for, are asked basically to pay tax on the accommodation related bookings. So it's basically the tourism tax. So these are the variety of taxes we see throughout the world. And in some of the countries, there are major changes happening also, both in the maybe in certain areas of tax. Like in Brazil, the Brazil tax is complicated. They have around 5 taxes in transaction taxes, like we had earlier in our excise, VAT, or service tax regime. Now they are simplifying it, and they are getting into a model of, say, they call it CBS, IBS. It's sort of our CGST, SGST, and IGST sort of a thing. So those type of challenges are changes are also happening. And again, if you talk about the digital taxation, then you talk about your pillar 1 and pillar 2. And many countries are gradually introducing this. Either it is QDMTT, or it is IIR, or it is UTPR. Okay, so gradually there are many changes. Many countries are gradually adopting that. So I think so far as the readiness for the corporates is concerned, I think a few things are very important. As per my experience, I think is that many times we do a post facto or post-mortem analysis of the issues. So I think if we can identify the issues from a process perspective from the very beginning, and put a stop to the issues at the very beginning, then we do not have to do a post-mortem analysis. So I think that analysis and that keeping a vigil is very important. Second is a lot dependence on the technology, the way it is going, the number of registration, the huge number of registrations that we have to deal, the huge number of companies because of the acquisitions, etc., and other things we are dealing with. Unless and until we have a solid infrastructure of IT and solid ERP, and coupled with the other required IT platforms, I think it will be very difficult to manage the show. Third, I think, is the internal control. Internal control will be very required because if you deal with so much numbers, somewhere there might be crores of rupees at stake. Okay, so the internal control process must be very good. Fourth is, I think, the knowledge, overall knowledge, not only of the tax heads or the senior tax persons in the team. I think even the junior most persons are to be regularly updated with at least with the basics of the rules and regulations, and where does it impact if something gets sleeved. So I think overall, these are some of my observations.
Okay, that was very insightful. On that, as you have mentioned that there are a lot of changes which is happening rapidly. I just wanted to ask Harshal that what are the challenges which is related to integration while implementing new updates?
Good evening, everyone. So I think tax as a subject is such that the designation of the tax team should be changed. It should be head of tax challenges, indirect tax challenge manager, direct tax challenge manager, challenger consultant. This was on a lighter note, but yeah, there are a lot of challenges for implementing even for a smallest update. I mean, look at GSTR 1, they have introduced GSTR 1A. They have introduced GSTR 2A, 2B. Now they have introduced this new system which is called as IMS. Then there is faceless assessment scheme which is there, which is also having a lot of complexes. E-tax filing portal 1.0, 2.0. While it's good for the economy as a whole, but not all the taxpayers are geared up or not having that kind of speed to implement all those changes all at once. So I think going back to the question which Umang asked, so there are two ways in which the challenges, in which the update which is impacting an organization needs to be implemented. First is identifying what is the impact. These days, the changes which are introduced by income tax, transfer pricing, GST are such complex that the tax team itself takes a lot of time to analyze, decipher. They have to take a lot of opinions. They have to reach out to lawyers. They have to take management approvals. Like, I'm part of foreign bank, so I know that there are lots of discussion that I'm going through right now for implementing ISD, which is due from 1st April. Well, there are 6 more months to go, but still we are still identifying the impact which is having on all the vendors. So first is identifying the impact, and then is actually executing it. Now, how to execute is, first you have to identify the timelines within which this law or update has to be implemented. Then you have to also see that there are other due dates which are going on during the year for regular compliances that you have for direct, indirect, and transfer pricing, and for other kind of taxes that may be applicable for international organizations. Then is identifying which are the teams impacted within your organization, coordinating with them, taking their time out, training them that this is the change and this is the update, this is how it will be impacted. Also, since we are a bank, we cater to a lot of customers. So we have to also see whether any customer is being impacted. They should not be denied of any opportunity, or they should not be denied of any benefit with this law. We have to prior inform them, communicate them. So there is a lot of legal process that has to be gone through for the communication to go. If there is any vendor impact with the change, then vendor communication has to be done, vendor guidance needs to be done, PO changes needs to be done. It's a lot of things. After all this, then comes the main you can say animal is the IT change, which usually takes a lot of time. Maybe 2 to 6 months is the usual time which all the foreign banks generally take for implementing any kind of change within the law. There are costs associated with it. We have to reach out to senior management people for all the kind of approvals, for the cost approval in regard to IT implementation. So there are a lot of challenges here, and I think it's good for consultants like you, Umang, and also for people like us, so that the job goes on till the time AI takes us.
Agreed. If there won't be any challenges, then there won't be any people who are coming up and solving those issues. So rightly said. Adding to your answer, which you have just answered it, right? I just wanted to ask Mr. Rajesh that how do you address concerns related to data security and privacy using AI?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So, when you say data security or data privacy, the key principles is whether it's data accuracy, data protection, and data control. So, these are the three pillars we look at when we say data privacy or data security. The data accuracy, today the AI has become a buzzword in a technology. So, in any strategic meeting, you are from a personal experience with MD or any problem you say, इसमें AI में कुछ कर सकते हैं क्या? Whether the generative AI में कुछ कर सकते हैं क्या? So all solution is only generative AI. So that is basically a buzzword in corporate circles or even in consulting circles maybe. And every tech company is coming up with new technology to address concerns. The problems the corporates are facing, like earlier I had one ERP, SAP. Today I have 7 different technologies sitting. Somebody is using for planning, some forecasting, for tax, for GST are different, from notice tracking something different. So we have all the technology companies here also pitching for their individual software. So in all this AI buzzword and data technology advancement, the data security is very important. The use of AI responsibility is important. So whenever the data, good hygiene, see any data security and privacy issues, you have to maintain a good data hygiene. We have to do a data confidential check, what data confidential is going out or not when we are using a AI technology. Because AI and machine learning works, number of instances it gets, it becomes mature and gives the accurate result. So if you have only 100 sample sizes for any machine learning or LLM, so then it will give only bias output based on the 100 trends. If you have 1 lakh invoices, like tracking fake invoices or analyzing what is the tax return. So to analyze the trend, the AI also needs a lot of data. So what data goes out from your system for your customer data you are giving out? So that data confidentiality also you have to look into. You have to look into whether all the data you are exposing yourself, whether it is worth it or not. Whether you have to be controlled whether what data is going out, what data is not should not be given, unnecessary data is populating. So a classic example, a tech firm came to us and say ki we will do a customer profiling for you, and then they asked any mobile number. So you give one mobile number and we just put individual, for example, my mobile number, and it has all the history. When I had ordered what from Swiggy, Zomato, or what app I have used, what bank account I have. Even they have tracking EPF portal, which companies I have worked for, and all the tracking. So a simple mobile number, we are accepting lot of apps we are using. We are logging into lot of systems with our mobile number, email IDs. And all these are used to track us. So that is the responsibility, the responsible use of the data and tech is also necessary when the technological advancement is happening. And that is basically how we have to follow this principle, the protection, confidentiality, and good data hygiene, so that we don't give out much of the data to outside and only required data is given out. So that's about it.
Makes sense, because sometimes what I feel is ki if my mobile is missed somewhere else, I would be like nothing, because all contacts and everything is kind of saved on that, and sometimes I feel I am a slave of tech. So I think, yeah, from your security standpoint, definitely we need to be on top of these scenarios, so that we don't get technology to misuse us from all those aspects. Moving on, I just wanted to move the conversation little from a government aspect. So I just wanted to ask Mr. Desai that what can we expect to be the big move by the government to streamline GST compliance, and how can enterprise be better prepared for an evolving taxation era?
So I'm combining both of my questions.
Yeah.
We have no doubt some limited time, but the intent is generally when we talk about what as a company we should do. But you should also see what your competitor, and our competitor, if I see from a tax standpoint, is our tax office, whether income tax or GST government. The intent through this slide, what I'm trying to show is that, no problem. No. Chalega, no problem. So the intent is very simple, is that how is government tracking our data and what are they planning to exactly do of the data, correct? And means even if I go only from a GST standpoint, there are three, I may say, ERPs for them through which they are tracking all our movements, probably goods movement, whatever taxes we are paying. And there is something called a big data analytics, which they also have. To some extent, the data is not available to us, but there were some government reports or CAG's reports through which some information is available today also on public domain. Going in a very layman's term, the AC's platform is what you file GST return, e-way bill, everything is tracked there. Through that, they get the base data. And then this is ADVAIT. I will come back on this because this is their biggest data platform, if I may say, which everything is being tracked by them. Presently, if you ask me, when I was seeing that, the only fortunate part is that the tax officers probably are not so tech savvy, and that's why we are today not getting such kind of intelligent notices, and the notices generally revolve around reconciliation and why it not matches, which is generally from the AC's platform. They have not utilized the second platform which they have. And the third is DigiGram, which people may know it because sometimes when you receive notices, it's a knowledge-based team which they have, which they try to track data from ACs and ADVIT, and then they push the report to the tax officer that, see, I see some discrepancy happening, which we also have today in income tax. In faceless scheme, there are different teams created, correct? Verification, knowledge team. Similar to that, DigiGram is somewhat similar to that, but we are still not seeing the main exponential growth of that. But the main thing is this. Advanced analytics in indirect taxes is what their big data is. While much data is not available, but in simple terms, only if we see this much, which is coming from a CAG report, what they have our jurisdiction details, which is very normal. Entity dashboard, it covers everything. Means entity dashboard locates what I have filed, what are my income tax filing, what are my GST filings. It also reconciles with customs, correct? Then there is an HSN dashboard which helps them to track what kind of goods I am selling or what kind of services I am providing. And probably they may also try to see, am I reporting in a correct way, say in my SEZ compliance, in STPI compliance. You never know that. There is a TRU dashboard. It is just for the government to know what kind of imports are reported by me, exports are reported by me. Am I claimed a refund claim? And refund claim doesn't mean only GST claims. Probably what I understood is that they also have data of my income tax filing, my customs filing. And the biggest thing is the entity dashboard, because that gives them a 360-degree view along with the revenue dashboard. So they can do a correlation probably. And this is not qua particular state. This is capturing the India level data. So if some state official wants to see what is happening in Maharashtra while today I am being served or a notice has received from Karnataka, probably they can do that. The only fortunate part is till date they have not done it. Once this all happens, I think Clear may have more business to do and their valuations are going to soar in. Even in income tax, while not much data is available, but today we have already seen, correct, that we see Trace's portal is there. And our in AIS report, so many data is being tracked. But from where that data is coming? The data is being coming because they also have a similar data platform, probably which they are calling. And they are visualizing everything. The only good thing is till date they have not used our social media platforms. Otherwise, they are tracking everything. Even our MCA filings are being tracked by income tax. Means what I report in MCA versus what happens in income tax. One day, a day will come where they may even tell us to reconcile what you have reported in MCA or say SCZ or STPI versus what income tax filing has been done, or probably even in GST. So, just a moment. Yeah. So this is just my last slide, but the intent of this slide was to see, generally, India is also learning how internationally things are done. Means if you'll see what was done in our indirect tax platform by the government, or even the income tax platform, generally the learnings are coming from probably 4-5 countries. US, fortunately India has not done, but some reports are saying that they track the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, I don't know what else. And probably what they have done. Simple. If you are filing something versus you have posted BMW or something, they would obviously ask from where that post lies. And probably some reports say that it has helped them save $300 billion of taxes, which generally people or tax fraudulent entities were not reporting. UK is a very unique instance where they say there is a platform called as HMRC Connect, is their income tax IRS. They have integrated with their own public service, banks, Airbnb, eBay, insurance companies, along with OECD countries. Every data is being integrated to create a knowledgeable, means when a notice is issued by the tax office or whenever a search is conducted, after such evaluation they generally do. And even there they are saying probably they do analyze the social networks to detect any lifestyle evidence versus what generally income you are disclosing in an annual basis. So you never know, in India also this may happen. Spain, Australia is somewhat similar to what UK is doing, because they are also trying to track wealthy individuals who are not paying taxes. No doubt in case of Spain, probably they went ahead to even check that if a person is disclosing him as a non-resident, they have some trackers placed, probably immigration, passport, I don't know what else. But that report was saying that they track it to see whether he's actually a non-resident or he's just disclosing on paper. So the intent through this was just to show that how the data is being used by tax office. And as the times are going to pass, the challenges for the company would be how to reconcile if such kind of data are being used and we are being told to reconcile our income tax return, corporate filings, SCZ, STPI. It would be a much challenging task, and probably then we may not even call us as a tax team. I don't know what to call us.
Makes sense. Yeah, sir. Okay.
So just to add one point to what Dhaval said, so there is also internal module of the GST department which is called as BIFA, Business Intelligence and Fraud Analytics, and that is being, and it, this is also available on Google, by the way, but this is something which they developed 4 years ago, right? And it, the way this dashboard looks like, right? They have the entire history, the intelligence of the assessee, of the taxpayer, and that is being very, very rapidly used by the department to conduct searches. So I don't know if you are aware, but Maharashtra, for example, did 140 searches recently. And a lot of those searches, the data was all coming from BIFA. So I think these are some of the developments, the way Dhaval said, the department is leveraging in a big way to actually conduct searches, to actually, make pointed queries to the taxpayers. Thanks.
That was really insightful. And if I talk about government's revenues are also basis this, so they have to develop some of the other tool to check whether taxpayers are currently filing the returns on right from various data sets. So there are still a lot of reconciliation are already there, e-invoicing, e-way bill. There will be a lot more coming up in the near future. Okay. Going to the next segment, I just wanted to ask Mr. Ravi, with the rise of automation and AI, how can business leverage technology to enhance compliance with direct and indirect tax regulations?
Thanks, Umang, and good evening to all of you. I think I'm reminded of when you ask this question, I'm reminded of a movie scene actually, of Mr. India, and that movie was actually shot. It was released about 37 years ago, and there is a classic scene where Ashok Kumar, he's giving a class to a bunch of students, and he gives an example that something which was not envisaged or thought of 150 years ago is a reality, and he gives an example of airplane or an X-ray, for example, right? So I think that's the way we have seen technology also making huge inroads into taxation, right? We all know and we all have used off-the-shelf softwares for filing out tax returns, tax audits, whether it is Saral, Railon, whatever. But if you look at thereafter, and especially I think GST has actually fast-tracked the sort of automation that the tax function has gone through. And even if you just focus on direct tax, for example, right? Direct tax, there are tools available now. And so I think on the earlier panel there was one question that came up on the new direct tax law. I think the biggest pain point that all of us face today is actually income TDS reconciliation, which is actually the least of the attention that we would want to give to, but it's actually the biggest pain, right? You will always have a mismatch. Your client would have reported it in the next year. You are reporting the income today, and there will always be a mismatch. Department is not going to give you credits, and there is no solution, right? There are tools available whereby you can actually reconcile, you can actually understand what those mismatches are, and also reach out to your clients through automated mails. I know some of the partners who are available, today with us. They also have some of these solutions. I think there are tools available for that. There are tools available for preparing computation of income, and I've actually done a demo with a vendor. You just need to upload your trial balance. They just map the trial balance with the computation, and once you uploaded your computation, your trial balance, the computation is ready. Now I think all of us would want to use some of these tools because it reduces the manual errors and also brings in a lot of efficiency, especially in using Excel. If there is a mapping issue or if there is a error that creeps in, your entire computation goes for a toss, and it might actually, you may realize only later when there is a board meeting or a results declaration. So I think there are tools around that. Now coming on the indirect tax side also, there are plenty of tools available, right? Each one of us may be using some of the other ASP, GSP for day-to-day standard compliance, whether it is 1, 3B, whether it is ITC, RICO, e-invoicing, all of that. But I think and my colleague also spoke about IMS coming in, ISD coming in. But I think a lot of corporates, a lot of people are also using RPAs, for example, automating their processes, their standard processes. Now each one of us need to prepare some sort of reconciliation, whether it is books versus GL. Basically, your purchase register, that is a report, and also you want to reconcile the ITC with the GL. Now for that, it's all manual. So you look at tools like RPA or even Alteryx, which is a very low-code, no-code platform to actually automate some of these tasks. Or even, for example, publishing reports to the management, right? For example, every month we have a dashboard that we publish to the management, and we put out, okay, what's the ITC reversal under 17.5, under Rule 42? What is the liability that we paid? What is the cash balance? What is the ledger balance and all that? Cash paid and ledger balance. I think some of these also, and what you would end up doing is that actually, because you would have a 3B, right, which is in PDF, you will copy paste, and keep populating that report. But there are tools available which will read those formats and develop or give you a report right at a click of a button. I think when we were talking about AI, I think the point that came to my mind is that And I was actually attending a webinar of Institute. And Institute of Chartered Accountants has got a committee, AI in ICI, for example. And I did a long workshop with them. But there are tools available, and a lot of lawyers are using AI in a big way, right, to actually draft submissions. I don't know if you are aware, but Adobe, the license version, has got an AI assistant. And if you can ask that assistant to prepare a summary of the notice in a paragraph. If it's a 4-page notice and you want to tell your management that we've got this notice, there is just at a click of a button you can get a 4-page summary cut out into a small paragraph. So there is AI at your doorstep. So I think there are so many tools available, and the only thing that I keep wondering is that ye dil mange more. We all have to ask more, right? And in the same scene, coming back to the same scene, there was one student who said that, sir, can is there a gadget which can actually make a person invisible? So I think, but Ashok Kumar turns down that student. So I think what we need to, as tax professionals, as tax leaders, think that A is actually to set some time aside every day, or at least on a weekly basis, to do a 1 hour sort of brainstorming with our teams. Okay, what are the pain points? Start with that. I think that's an easy one always, right? Because if your shoe is biting, you might as well go to a cobbler and try and mend the shoe, right? So start with the pain areas. Also, I think spend time for networking, and I think these are some of the great opportunities where who is doing what, right? If somebody is doing something different, I think it's always good to just copy and paste it in our scheme of things. And I think the third thing is not let your subordinate or a person who's giving a fabulous idea, don't turn down that idea. Try and look at it positively. Maybe it's a fabulous thing because Gen Z in particular, right? They come up with solid ideas. And, I think for all of us, it's important we encourage them and ensure that we take it to the next level. So I think these are the thoughts that I have on your question, Umang.
That completely makes sense. If anyone from the panelists wants to add on this pointer, you are free. Yeah.
Just adding to what Ravi just mentioned regarding the AI, the lawyers using. I think I remember 14 years back when I was doing my articleship, I used to analyze the case laws from direct tax, indirect tax perspective the entire day and then give a summary. And now there is a click of a button. There is a entity called as legal AI. You just have to give the citation. The AI itself will give you the entire summary. So that's the level of artificial intelligence, which is obviously helping us in a lot of ways. But yeah, it's a good long way to go for the tax team as a function.
I just wanted to add the fact that we need to admit the fact that tax department is moving ahead of us. I mean, at one point of time, we were surely ahead of the curve than the tax authorities. Few days back, a few months back, we were talking with some officer, GST officer, and we were talking about something in SAP, and we are trying to say something. And he immediately caught that. He said, no, there is a report. With this report, you can pull out this thing. So that much details they are into. And especially when ICE get SEZ online, your GST portal, your income tax portal, everyone talking to each other. I think our IT infrastructure should be also solid enough. I mean, whether it's using blockchain or using AI, so many reconciliations, so many return filing, and we need to do accurately so that there is minimum impact for the company. So I think we need to gear up for that.
Makes sense. In the world of chat GPTs, we need to also upskills all of our skill set. And Mr. Ravi said that we need to at least set aside some half an hour or 1 hour of our time so that we can problem solve on the existing issues that we might have and can get solved through AI. And there are a lot of AI tools in the market. As Harshal also said that कुछ भी articulation लेना होता है तो legal का, it becomes very easy to just directly put it on an AI tool and you just get it. So I think it makes complete sense from that perspective. I think in the interest of time, if I can just open the delegates, if anyone wants to ask question with the panelist. Otherwise, that's okay.
Thanks, delegates, for your insights. I just seen the way the tax authorities prepared their softwares, like ADVIT, DGRAMs, ACS, GSTs. Yes, I'm also a part of this revolution. What happening recently with these informations, sometimes departments come with the wrong conclusion. And they slap notices. And but there is no mechanism to have a grievance. And with this, what is happening? Tax terrorism type of issues has created, and it is sometimes worse than what we used to have previous regime, where at least somebody was there face to face to listen to the SSCs. Now they slap something, and sometimes we ask, please allow us to cross-examine what basis you come to this conclusion. There is no proper redressal forum or mechanism. So I just wanted to see, as a industry leaders, we should have some solution to this, like representing to various government authorities, periodical intervals, maybe ministry or CBDTs, and we should make some collective voice so that everybody will benefit from this.
If I can just answer and maybe others can chip in. So as far as, and especially like I think Harshal also wants to add, because I've seen, and not that I know about other industry forums, but the financial services, especially banks, right? They're very, very, very closely knit, right? If you look at IBA, Indian Banks Association, so it's a big forum where all private banks participate. Similarly for wealth managers, right? So we have a brokers forum, BBF. We also do representations to FICCI, ASSOCHAM. So I think point well taken, and while you will do all of that, but I think we all understand that you cannot get the terrorism out of the equation. And when I talked about BIFA, I actually did not complete the story because I also wanted to add that despite having a system, the output that the system gives is just worse, right? And we need some of our technology partners to go and actually correct those bugs which are there in the government system because they give all wrong outcomes. So, but I think, at your level, and I think this is a fabulous network where we can connect with industry peers, and it's important that we voice out our issues, our concerns, and obviously I think the government, the good part, at least so many years we've seen is the government hears, the government listens, and we can only hope that the things get better as we go along.
Yes, we should give some time to them to mature this system. Initially, maybe this we have to face. Maybe after the system get mature, things will stabilize. But now this phase is painful.
Just to chip in, I think so. We as a foreign bank, entire banking industry was facing with one of the issue on place of supply, and the officer just rejected our refund application, and then in audit, the same officer was there. So he's like, since I have rejected your refund, I have to apply tax. Basis the place of supply. So we as entire foreign banks came together and filed a representation. We spoke to Sanjay Mangal sir, and we reached out to Ministry of Finance. And luckily we got a clarification 2 months back, and it was in our favor, and the demand got dropped. So the timing is very important. Also, you need to take a lot of industry peers along with you so that there is weightage and the ministry people can listen to you. And it's not like that service tax regime or excise tax regime where the amendment was taking a lot of time. These days, GST authorities are quite pressurized because of media. And everyone is aware about CNBC, Jimsi Tapsurya, and I don't remember the name of that editor, but she's the one who gets the indirect tax update first. So it's just like you have to reach out to your peers as well as the ministry and the right people to get your issue resolved. Yeah.
I think ऐसे नहीं है कि हो नहीं रहा है. Some of the things we are raising at the industry forum, like in our case it's NASCOM, and we are raising the issues, and sometimes it is getting addressed. Like there were many notices issued on account of this secondment, right? Yeah, and that is a pain point for everyone. And another was the e-shop, right? The foreign holding company issuing e-shop. So I think those are taken care, and because of the more, I think, social media, etc., I think they are also on a little bit pressure side. But yes, it's still evolving. So gradually, probably we'll have better times ahead.
Sir, I hope that answers
Only
your
one
question.
thing on the same point. So we had actually represented through one of the industry bodies of how the notices are coming and being not read in a way in it should be, or at least there should be application of mind, correct? While system may throw anything, but at least there should be some filtering happening at their end. So it was represented. What was told that they are already doing trainings for their officers, similar to what you mentioned, that they are aware about how SAP operates, correct? Because that is probably due to training. So the worry is that once they start understanding things, you never know what is going to more happen, because there are many devils sitting there with them probably. So sometimes you feel whether they should be educated or not educated.
If as a SSC, if our intention is not bad, we should not be penalized. Okay, first of all, and we are clear. Example, I'll tell you. We have 15 to 16 years continuously. We have some each year some refunds with direct tax. But suddenly they come with a big number or particular year. The source is from GST. And why it comes? Because one of the supplier found somewhere non-compliant. So they considered all his supply to whoever they have supplied. All places they put a big notice. Whereas in our my transaction may not be the fraud transactions. But entire 16 years, they block that because this is going on. But whom to address this query, they are also not clear. Faceless. We have to wait when it will come.
But you can always request a video conference.
We have done that, but no.
Okay, in the interest of time, we will just wind this up. The only constant in life is change, and especially for taxation. So let's embrace the change and look out for businesses to thrive in the coming years. And thank you, panelists, for your time. We can connect one-on-one. Anyone is wanted to talk something on that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have to wait.
Mr. Umang, I would like to have Mr. Umang back on the stage and felicitate our fellow panelist, Mr. Rajesh.